Howdy, and welcome to the NSC on-campus housing presentation. We're excited to be able to join you today virtually to talk through some of the keys to living on campus here in our residence halls and apartments. I'm Brandon Carlson, one of the coordinators of Residence Life on the north side of campus, and I'm joined by
Josh Morris. I'm also a coordinator of Residence Life on the north side of campus.
Over the course of today, we're going to give you some tips and tricks as well as resources to keep in mind that will be helpful for you as you make your transition to campus living in the fall.
So when we talk about campus living, really we're talking about community. When you move into our residence halls, we want you to feel like this is home. You're going to live here, you learn here, you interact here, all things to be successful in college. We want you to feel that when you move into our halls. So we have some rights, responsibilities, things that we need done to help you be successful in that role. So what Brandon and I are going to cover today is going to summarize what the things you need to do to be successful, but also allow you to be successful.
One of the great things about living on campus are the staff members that we actually have that will be living with you. This starts with our resident advisor staff. These are undergraduate students, just like you, who have been hired over the course of the fall or spring semesters and then trained extensively for about 2 weeks to go over all kinds of different aspects, from programming, community development, conflict mediation, all with the effort to be able to help you be successful while you're living here on campus. These RAs are located in every single one of our residential facilities on every floor in those spaces. So regardless if you're living in the apartments, you're living in our residence hall facilities across campus, you have an RA that's in close proximity to you if you ever need assistance or support. These RAs are always there and always on. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, you have needs that they can help you with, the RA is your first go-to when it comes to being able to find the answer to what that issue may be. Our RAs are supervised by some of our other staff members. Specifically, we have graduate hall directors and graduate resident managers, depending on where you're located on campus. Just like the name states, these are graduate students. So there's still students here at Texas A&M pursuing a higher degree, many of them in student affairs administration, meaning they're here geared specifically to be able to help you as a college student be successful in navigating college life. These students are here working 20 hours a week in some of our smaller communities across campus, as well as some of our larger communities in conjunction with our full-time community director staff. Their offices are typically located on the first floor of each of the buildings. So if you're lost and can't find an RA, head to the first floor, look for the signage for the office, and that's where your GHD or GRM will be located. Similarly, our community directors and resident managers are also there to help. These are full-time staff members, many of them who have already received a master's degree within student affairs administration or higher education administration, who are there and dedicated for 40 hours a week just to you. If there's anything that you need, those staff members will be in their offices from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. through the week, as well as accessible through our duty system over the course of our evenings and weekends as well. These staff members specifically work in some of our larger communities across campus. So if you're on the north side, think about FHK and Hullabaloo. If you're on the south side, think about some of the commons dorms that are there. Those students specifically can be able to work with their CD if they have questions or concerns about living on campus. And then finally, last but not least, us as coordinators of Residence Life, Josh and myself, are here to be able to help you. And we actually have area offices that are located on each side of campus, whether that's north side, south side, out at the Gardens Community Center, or at the White Creek Community Center as well. And we're here to support the operations of each one of our sides of campus. So if you can't find a staff member in hall, be that an RA or your GHD or CD or RM or GRM, then feel free to head over to the area office. We're there and located in those spaces Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we also will be able to take phone calls and email questions as they come in as well.
So we're going to talk about more specifically your RA. So who are they? Brandon touched on it a little bit. They're another undergraduate student just like you, a student leader that we've identified, has been through training, been hired, been put into a role where they can help you, role model for you, guide you, support you, all good things in the world. Where do they live? They live on the floor with you, in your ramp, on your wing. They are in the building going through exactly the same things you're going through. Why? All of our RAs wanted to give back. A lot of them take this role on so that they can be there to guide you, if you have a rough day with classes or, socially you're not, integrating the way you wanted to, you don't feel like you're being successful in all aspects of your collegiate life. Like, that's why they're there. They want to help you. They may not have the answer, but they know the resource available to you to help you with whatever you're going through. Or they're sharing your success. You're doing great. They want to be a part of that with you, just to take the experience with you. So like I said, RAs live on the floor, so technically they're there 24/7, but they are actually on duty from 5 p.m. on weekdays until 8 a.m., and on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, they are on 24 hours. So if you need an RA, you can call it. We're going to talk about our 24-hour desk here in a minute. Call the 24-hour desk. If you need any help, the RA will come out, assist you with whatever you got going on. And the what's, they do programs, they do, face-to-face interactions, they'll do bulletin boards, door decks, they do a plethora of things. Basically, what we want you to walk away with this is to know that if you need assistance, if you need help, there's an RA on your floor, your ramp, your wing, that's been through training, they understand what needs to be done. They can assist you, just make sure you seek them out.
So great segue, Josh, to talk about safety and security. More than anything on campus, the thing that we want you to feel most comfortable with is that your living and learning environment is there for you. And so we take a great priority when it comes to providing you with a safe and secure location to be able to live, study, socialize with your friends, that sort of thing. Specifically, we want to talk about a few things that are on the slide. First and foremost, we want to talk a little bit about your student ID card. As you may be aware, your student ID is really a key to a lot of different resources across campus. So not only is it there for you to swipe into your dining facility or into the rec center or to use at the library facility, but it's also your key to be able to access our residence hall and apartment spaces across campus as well. So it's vitally important that you keep your student ID on you at all times and you have it accessible to be able to make sure that you can access your building safely and securely from there. Each one of our halls and apartments has a card swipe reader on the outside exterior of the building near the main entry doors. All you'll need to do is take that student ID card, swipe it in, and the door will be unlocked for a period of about 10 seconds for you to get in and out of that space freely. Also, similarly speaking, your room key is a really great thing to keep with you at all times as well. I know many times in Aggie land, we like to think that Aggies don't lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those who do. But Josh, as you know, sometimes we have some bad Aggies, or as I like to call them, baggies, who don't necessarily ascribe to those same core values. And for those folks, we want to make sure that we're protecting our room key. This is really important from the perspective of those that are living on campus with roommates or friends. Obviously, when you leave, if you leave your key or you leave your door unlocked, you're also opening up those students to folks that may be coming in to try to steal things, take things, that sort of thing from the space. So please make sure you keep your room key on you at all times so that you have access into that space and it's controlled. As Josh mentioned, we do have 24-hour service desks that are located in several different places across campus. So if you're a Northside resident, that 24-hour desk is located on the first floor in Hullabaloo Hall, kind of on the southeast corner of the building. If you're on the south side in the Commons, the actual Commons proper building has our 24-hour desk location within it. And then out at White Creek in the community center, we have a desk that's located there for your needs as well. As the name states, these desks are operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout the entirety of the academic year. This is a great resource if you lose a key or an access card, if you want to check out equipment, or if you're looking to utilize one of our resource rooms like our study rooms or our music practice rooms. This is your one-stop shop to be able to get your questions answered literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So make sure that you're acclimated with where those desks are located and that you have the information to be able to reach them. Specifically, if you're a Northside or Southside resident, the number that you'll call is 979-845-2821 to be able to reach the Northside or Southside desk. If you're a White Creek resident, you'll call 979-458-8500, and that desk representative will be able to assist you from there. Again, those phones are open and available for you 24 hours a day. We also have on-call staff. So Josh mentioned this when he talked a little bit about our RAs. Our RAs are our initial line of defense. So if there's a question or a concern, say for example you have a maintenance work order or you've been locked out of your room for whatever reason, you can actually contact those 24-hour desks and they will page our RA on duty to meet you at the hall office and be able to get you what you need in that particular situation. Additionally, we also have our graduate hall director and graduate resident manager rotation, our CD and RM rotation as well, our community director and resident manager rotation, and even us as coordinators are serving on call for you as well. So there are 4 lines of defense. If there's something that you need or a question that needs to be answered, we're here for you to be able to take care of that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, throughout the entirety of your time while you're living on campus. Additionally, by virtue of you being a student here at Texas A&M, we want to really espouse those core values: respect, excellence, leadership, loyalty, integrity, and selfless service. But if you see others that are on campus that are not doing that, specifically within the context of our residence halls, we encourage you to fill out a report. There are several different ways that you can do that. There's a Tell Somebody report, there's a Stop Hate report, and there's a Stop Hazing report. The great thing is, all you have to do is add those things with the .tamu.edu extension, and you'll be able to access those resources online. But if you ever see someone who you feel is not respecting those that are in our community, then we want you to feel like you have a space to be able to make sure that your voice is heard. And finally, when it comes to fire life safety, obviously when you're living in a shared communal space, your safety and security when it comes to items that you bring with you are also of vital importance to us as well. As such, we do 2 checks annually, once in the fall and once in the spring, with a representative from Environmental Health and Safety to come in and make sure that the things like candles, extension cords, any sort of fire load hazards are being mitigated from our spaces. And so please make sure that when we talk a little bit about the belongings that you can bring with you, that you're mindful of not necessarily bringing some of those things that are against our rules and regulations that you can find in your handbook.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your room and your roommate. So for your room assignment, you actually pick which room you want to go to. So the last day to be able to do that will be July 29th. In the event you select the room that you didn't, or you want to change your room, don't like what you selected, you'll need to contact our housing assignments office. Their contact information will be at the end of the presentation. So contact them if you need to switch rooms. Maintenance requests. So we have a great partnership with SSC. So if the light bulb goes out in your vanity or your overhead light, your sink is leaking, your air conditioner is not, it's cool, but it's not quite cold, you are able to log on to aggieworks.tamu.edu and you can submit a work request. Maintenance will come out and fix it. You define what times that you want them to come out. If you don't care, you can list that. If you only want them to come in the afternoon, you can identify that as well. They'll come out, replace it, be done. You can also track the status of your work order as it's progressing through. So if you have something that's a little more major, I don't know, leak in your shower head, that may take a few extra parts. You can track with the AggieWorks website to know the status of where you're at with your work order. So your roommate. Common roommate issues. How many of y'all are night owls? How many of y'all are early risers? That's not happening. But generally that's our first roommate issue is someone wants to get up at 5 a.m. to make sure they can get to the rec to go work out. Someone else is staying up till 3 a.m. studying because that's when they study best. We also talk about studying. If you like to study with music on, have the TV on in the background. There's other people that they want pitch black, no sound, no nothing. It's got to be a quiet room for them to be able to study. That's our second big roommate issue, whether or not you like having guests over into your room. And someone else who doesn't want people in their room. That's generally one of our biggest roommate issues as well. One thing we've found to be successful throughout the years is communication, respect for one another. Talk it out. Don't be the one that, this has been an issue. You move in August, you and your roommate are great, and then all these little things start happening and there's no communication back and forth. And come December, you're meeting with Brandon or you come to the North Area office and I can't live with this person anymore. This is awful. I'm not doing well. I'm failing my classes because I can't study the way I need to study. There's not a lot we can do some things at that point, but if we know about these issues in August, September, we can do our roommate agreements. We can have some conversation back and forth and a little compromise to be able to make you and your roommate be successful in what you're trying to do. And roommate agreements. So this has been a standard for us in the past of we have all roommates complete this. It's a contract of sorts. It basically outlines this is when I will turn the overhead light off. This is when I study. This is the kind of noise volume we're going to have in the room. This is when we'll have guests in the room. I'll take the trash out on X days. You take the trash out on Y days. Just basically defines everything. Not that there's going to be an issue with every single thing that will come up in the room, but it's better to have, we have found it to be more successful for roommates to have this contract in place just so they understand expectations and both can mutually meet them, show that respect, which is an Aggie core value.
Yeah, and when it comes to that, really the essential aspect of what Josh is talking about is communication. Really, what we want to hope for y'all is when you come into that space over the course of the fall semester that you feel like you're on an even playing field with your roommate. And so that tool that we provide in those conversations that our staff members are going to be having with you and your roommates is really to try to make sure that that strong line of communication has been established. And we recognize many of you are probably going to be coming to campus with a friend or people that you know. Many times those that you know can be a little bit more challenging than those that you don't. It's an important aspect to keep in mind that when conflict does come up, we want to make sure that you're utilizing those resources. Be mindful of talking to your RA. Be mindful of addressing some of those pieces in person with your roommates rather than tweeting about it or posting on Instagram or Snapchat. We want to make sure that that conflict is resolved in person between the two parties that are involved so that you can get back to a good, safe living environment as you move forward into the rest of the semester. And we also want to make sure that when it comes to communication that we talk to you a little bit about what does it look like for us to officially communicate with you. In addition to Residence Life, many of our departments across campus will utilize your Texas A&M email address to be able to formally communicate with you about things that are coming up or relevant specifically to your student experience here on campus. We want to make sure that you know that it is our expectation as well as the university's expectation that you're checking your Texas A&M email frequently. For us, specifically, we're going to give you information about what does it look like to move out of our halls? What is it going to look like in order for us to be able to get you reassigned to spaces if you're looking to do a hall change? And we'll use that email communication heavily to make sure that you know what's going on and are well informed to make the best decisions while you're living on campus.
I will throw out, so Brandon and I will hear some of these roommate conflicts. I'm going to specifically mention the social media. I have had roommate conflicts where we had to call both residents in because one of them put a 3-page post on Facebook, all the bad things their roommate was doing. It's extremely awkward for those involved to have to confront, like I had to confront the girl who posted this about her roommate. She didn't know we had this information. I say it's awkward. It was really awkward for her. It was kind of hilarious for me. So if you have issues, if you're having some conflicts with your roommate, please talk to us in advance. Don't go to social media. Talk to your RA. Talk to your CD or GHD or your RM or GRM so we can work through these things and it doesn't blow up into something bigger and something that may be an embarrassment for you later. All right. So we're going to talk about some of the things you can bring to your room, what you should bring to your room. Coffee pot. Caffeine is good in the morning. 8 a.m.s are not fun, but, you know, we got to do them. So make sure you bring your coffee pot. You can have a crock pot, totally acceptable. Bring your iron. You want to dress nice for your class. You want to look good, especially when those internship interviews start happening. Microwave and refrigerator. Talk to your roommate during, at any point between now and when you move in. You don't want to show up with 2 microwaves, 2 refrigerators. Coordinate that with your roommate to make sure you're bringing what you need to bring. Most buildings do have a microwave in a common area, so if you don't have one, there should be one available. Yeah.
And we actually contract out with a few companies that will give you the opportunity to get rid of all the hassle and actually have those units dropped in to your space as well. You can find that information on our reslife.tamu.edu webpage, and they have some great services there for units called microchills that combine your microwave and refrigerator into one unit. And the great news is they are compliant with all of our rules and responsibilities in our handbook as well.
And if you live on the 4th floor, you don't have to move it upstairs. They will deliver it for you, and they will also pick it up from you at the end of the year.
So on the other side of things, I get to be the bad cop for today. There are some items that we don't encourage you to bring to campus, specifically because of some of the fire life safety regulations that we have here on campus. As you may be aware, we all live in communal spaces together, and that means that if we have some of these fire hazards in that space, not only are you impacting your room or your roommate's room, but you're also impacting the entire building. It's not something that we love to talk about, but we've actually had fires here at Texas A&M in the past, one of which actually destroyed 2 entire floors of one of our Corps Cadet dorms on the Corps Quad back in the early 90s. And after that situation occurred, where we had a loss of complete furniture and personal belongings and that sort of thing for everybody that was involved, we really take a higher standard when it comes to this now. And so on the screen, you can see some of the things that we would really like for you to make sure that you're leaving at home. Things like candles, power tools. Unfortunately, this is not Extreme Makeover Dorm Edition. If there's something that needs to be fixed or something that you feel like needs to be adjusted, that's why we have our work order system. Fill out that work order at aggieworks.tamu.edu, and we'll be happy to send an SSC maintenance or custodial rep to be able to address that with you. Grills. Unfortunately, we don't want any sort of grills, including the George Foreman grills that many times are left inside homes. Please leave those home because they have an open heating element. If something were to get knocked into it or they were to fall off while they were in operation, that could create a fire as well. Instant Pots. I know this is great. I love cooking with my Instant Pot. My wife loves cooking with hers. But unfortunately, we are not the Pioneer Woman, so we've got to make sure that some of those things are left at home. And again, because of that open heating element that comes from an Instant Pot, that's one of the aspects that we want to make sure we're protecting you from in case they were misused. Also, we want to make sure that you're not bringing your pet with you to campus. Your roommate is okay. I don't think they're covered as a pet in our policies, but all of our other pets, we need to make sure that we're leaving at home, with the exception of fish. So if you have a fish that can live in a 20-gallon tank or less, that's a great opportunity for you to have some companionship while you're living here on campus. But otherwise, those pets need to stay back home for you to visit on holiday breaks. And then road signs. I don't know about you, Josh, but when I was a student here, I saw those great farm-to-market road signs. I'm class of 2012, AWOOP. That was something that was really great for me, but I purchased my sign. I didn't steal it because I'm a good Aggie, not a bad Aggie. So make sure that if you're putting some road signs in your room, they're ones that you've acquired by purchasing, not by stealing. Remember, as we come through into those spaces, we'll be checking your rooms. And if we see some of those signs that are there, that could be something that UPD follows up with you, and we don't want that to have to happen. And then finally, weapons. These are a lot of different things. One of the things that I'll denote here is that for many of our students, they bring knife sets with them, really to cook, the most benign reason. But our policy actually states that you cannot have a knife with a blade longer than 4 inches. So please make sure that as you're bringing some of those items with you to campus, that they meet those guidelines. And again, those can be found on our reslife.tamu.edu website under your Residence Hall handbook for the fall semester.
So a couple of things that you should bring, UL approved power strip. Basically what this means is if the power strip were to overload, it shuts itself off rather than causing, a short circuit in the wall. As Brandon said, a lot of our policies center on safety and security of you and your belongings. So definitely bring the power strip. You'll have a couple of power outlets in your room, but this will definitely help you out if you have multiple devices. Alarm clock, like I said, 8 a.m. classes, not the greatest. You'll need to make sure you're awake for that, so don't forget your alarm clock. 3 a.m. command strips. I'm going to really strongly encourage this one. You're going to move into your room. We want this place to be home. This is the place, this is where you live. This is home. You go back and visit your parents' house, your guardian's house, your friend's house, but you come back to Aggieland. This is home. Definitely decorate your room the way you want it. So when you walk in, it's like, this is my space. I own this. This is what I want. Ethernet cords. You'll probably want internet. I will actually encourage you, the longer Ethernet cords you can get will give you a little bit more freedom in terms of being able to maneuver your devices around the room, be able to orient the room that is best for you. All the furniture, none of it's nailed down, so if you want to, shift the furniture, shift where your bed is, your desk is, your dresser is, by all means go ahead. Having longer cords will help you be able to do that. Toilet paper, we're talking about roommate conflicts. Here's your first one. Who's gonna bring the toilet paper? So you might wanna have a conversation with your roommate about that. We will provide the first roll for all the suite style halls when you move in. Community style baths, they will be supplied throughout the year, but after that first roll is out, if you live in a suite style hall, so mods, commons, ramp, balcony, that's it?
Yeah, that's great.
White Creek as well. You'll want to make sure you have toilet paper to replenish that. Laundry supplies. Please do laundry. Like, let's have a little personal PSA moment. Please do your laundry. Don't make us have a conversation with you about, you're smelling kind of funky. We have washers and dryers within the building, totally free. You have complete access to them. Bring what you need to be able to do laundry. If you've never done laundry before, don't worry, you won't be alone. All of our buildings have signage up of how to, what's the difference between colors and delicates and whites, so you don't turn all your white shirts pink. So just make sure you bring those supplies with you.
Yeah, and specifically thinking about your residence hall room space, you may or may not have been able to see what that space will look like on one of our housing tours. If you're not able to do that, we actually have virtual tours that are available on our website right now that you take a look at that potential room and kind of see what the layout looks like and how you and your roommate can communicate on what to bring. But just as Josh mentioned, we really do want this to be your place. We want this to be your home. And so feel free to bring decorations, bring posters, bring flags, bring pictures of friends or loved ones with you to campus. Just make sure that you're keeping in mind the aspect of those 3M products. Those are great to utilize in our residence hall communities as they have the pull tab that you can utilize to take them off when you're done on move out times. Some of our other products that adhere to the walls and things like that will actually rip the paint and finish off of those spaces, and unfortunately that's something that we would have to bill for. So if you use those 3M Command products, that's really your best bet. They're going to come off clean. You're going to be able to save everything from your room really well, and so that's what we would recommend. And then furniture, Josh talked a little bit about this in his slide, but we actually provide you with all the furniture in your space. So your bed frame, your mattress, your dresser, your nightstand, your bookshelf, all of those items are going to be located within the context of your room. If there's additional furniture that you bring with you, that's great. Just make sure that you know that all the furniture that you start off with in your room has to stay in your room. We can't take furniture out and then bring it back in later. If it gets damaged, then you would also be responsible for that. And some of our furniture is fairly expensive to replace. So if you're bringing items with you, just make sure that those items will also fit within the context of the furniture that's already located within that space.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about our academic support initiatives because contrary to popular belief, Aggieland is a great place to be, but if you are not being academically successful, then you don't get to stay in Aggieland. So we have several resources in place with our department to help you be successful in that regard. First thing we have is our academic peer mentors, our APMs. It's kind of similar to an RA. It's another undergraduate position, but their sole focus is to support you in your academics. So tutoring, they're very knowledgeable. They have their own training. They know the resources available on campus. So CLC hours, free tutoring hours, which we'll get to in a second. They're aware of all those things. So if you are not doing well academically or you just don't feel like you are, talk to your APM. They will be able to guide you, help you, point you in the path to be successful in that regard, get you connected with the resources that will correct what you've got going on. Living learning programs, if you apply for housing and you signed up, you'll know what these are. Mostly this is a themed unit within your floor, your ramp, your building. Students who are in the same major or of the same I don't know, collective theme. Basically, we tie in, you live here, yes, we're also going to incorporate your academic pursuits, what you're doing will be correlated with, we have campus collaborators. Several of our LLPs also have peer mentors as well, so other undergraduate students that just want to give back to the program that they were in previously. Basically, it's a good combination of where you live is also where you learn, and there's other people there that are going through what you're going through. Free tutoring. We offer this in the White Creek Community Center, Hullabaloo Hall, and the Commons. Look at our website. They'll show the courses and the times of when this is offered. But yeah, free tutoring. You live on campus, you have access to this. Several off-campus entities will have you pay for it. We offer it for free. You can get tutoring in almost all of your general education requirements. So look that up on our website. Community learning centers. You live on campus, you also have access to these. So they're open access labs. We have several computers that you have access to with your NetID. We also have large group study spaces. We also have individual study spaces, dry erase boards, several resources. This may not be relevant for you right now as a freshman, but once you get to your junior, senior year and you start talking about taking the GRE or the LSAT or these, professional exams you need to take to get into professional school, we have resources available to help you study for that. So you have access just living on campus to these resources. ASI programs. So right now we have dinner with a prof, first Tuesday of every month. A lot of research out there that if a student has a connection to a faculty member, they are exponentially more likely to be successful in college than if they didn't have that connection. We bring the professor to you and we bring a free meal with it. So first Tuesday of every month, it's been Live Oak Lounge. You'll go, free food, free dinner, but we'll bring a professor in to come kind of give their story, how they got to be where they are, how they were successful in college, just an opportunity for you to connect with them. Like I said, the connection to a professor has proven to be a great precursor to success for an undergraduate student. We also have Dessert with a Dean has come up. So you meet with the dean of a department, have a little free dessert. We also do Study Spectacular at the end of each semester. We have several meeting spaces in Residence Life, and we will convert our larger spaces into a massive study room. So you'll notice Evans, the various libraries on campus will be packed come finals week. We actually convert our spaces so that our students, our residents, have a space where they can go study. We'll have coffee, snacks, like there's everything available in this room, but it's available to you when you need it.
Yeah, and in addition to those academic support resources while you're on campus, living on campus here at Texas A&M brings in a lot of different amenities. As you can see on the screen, you have access to a lot of great resources and departments across campus right at your fingertips, where our students that live off campus will have to commute or ride a bus in to be able to take advantage of them. You're within walking distance 24/7 while you're here on campus. Specifically, our dining facilities, many of which are located right in our residential areas like the Commons, near the MSC, at White Creek. You can utilize those spaces within the comfort of your community area across campus by using that student ID card and swiping in, or using dining dollars as you have them loaded on your card as well. That's a great resource for us right here in close proximity. You don't have to worry about being a master chef when you have other staff on campus that are doing that for you. In addition, transportation services is a great resource here on campus, and Chad is going to talk to us a little bit later on today about some of the different resources that they provide for students across campus. But being able to park on campus, ride buses, do our bike share program, all of those different things that are easily accessible for students on campus are in close proximity for you. Our 24-hour service desks, as we talked about, are a constant level of support in case you need them. Questions, concerns, issues about anything while you're living on campus, even some things that may not even be Residence Life specific, they are great resources to be able to go and talk to. So figure out where those locations are depending on where your room assignment is for the fall, and make sure that you're utilizing those. Our laundry facilities, as Josh mentioned, are located in every single one of our residence halls, Corps of Cadet dorms, and university apartments, and they are free of charge for you. So feel free to utilize those. Make sure that you're bringing all of your own supplies, but take advantage of those resources while you're here. In addition, we have some really cool community spaces in some of our areas across campus as well. So if you're on the north side, on the first floor of Hullabaloo Hall, if you're on the south side in the Southside Commons, White Creek at the Community Center, and then the Gardens at the Gardens Community Center as well. There are game rooms there. There are music rooms for you to be able to go in and play piano or sing, play an instrument. We also have meeting rooms that are located in those spaces, so if you need a study space with your friends, or if you want to go and socialize, those can be requested on a first-come, first-served basis from our 24-hour desks as well. In addition, in some of our halls, we have TV lounges. These are great social spaces for programs or the ability for you to come down, watch a movie together, hang out, that sort of thing. These are the spaces where you'll make most of your memories by living on campus. So feel free to take care and use some of those as well. We're excited to state that we have recycling located in every single one of our residence hall communities across campus. And we have a great partnership with our local recycling facilities here to make sure that pretty much anything and everything that you can think of can be recycled while you're on campus. And we want to make sure that sustainability is a great Aggie tradition moving forward. In addition, we also have kitchen spaces in many of our residence hall communities and apartment communities. We're adding those as time goes on to be able to make sure that that's a resource that's available to many. So feel free, bring some pots and pans, bring some of those utensils and aspects to help you cook while you're here on campus. You definitely have that space. And then finally, we also have mail services that are located in some of our community spaces. For those that are living out at White Creek, that is actually a part of your semester rent. So there's nothing else that you'll need to do. You already have a dedicated mailbox for you. For those that are living in our residence hall communities, we actually contract out with Student Mail Services to be able to rent P.O. boxes in some of our locations across campus. We also do have a U.S. Postal Service substation on the north side of campus, right across from the Northgate District as well, so that's another option for you. And we have the ability to be able to receive packages, UPS, FedEx, DHL, et cetera, to some of our residence facilities as well. The specifics of our policies are also found on our reslife.tamu.edu website if you're looking for some of that information too.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about technology. So Wi-Fi. You are probably going to want interwebs when you get here. So our Wi-Fi is actually solid within the halls, and with several of our halls, we actually have external Wi-Fi. So if you are in the courtyard if you live in the Fowler Hughes and Keithley complex, you'll have internet access everywhere. Basically, you walk out your room and you still have it. The main thing is do not set up your own router. The more if everyone on the floor puts in their own wireless router, it's going to start bogging down the network. And everybody's internet is going to start going slow, and then Blackboard will crash, and nothing good will happen. So Wi-Fi is available. All you got to do is log in with your NetID, and you're good to go. So make sure you can bring a router, and I would actually encourage that if you have multiple devices that connect to the internet. Bring a router, but not a wireless router. ResNet, we have, like we talked about earlier, bring your Ethernet cords. You have Ethernet connection in your room. Bring a longer cord is my suggestion because you can always wrap it around the room if you need to, but if your cord is too short, you're going to be confined to just that little space. So, but you will have access to that. TV, make sure you bring a coax cable. For those that don't know, it's the long cord and there's a little wire poking out the end and screws in. If you've never seen it before. In White Creek, we do have IPTV. So Roku device, any kind of internet converter, that will be available in White Creek and I believe in Hullabaloo.
Correct.
So other halls, you just need a coax cable and you'll be able to plug into the wall and you'll have direct access. You'll need to search for your channels. We have a multitude of great channels. I personally prefer the MLB network and the NFL network, so that's available. Just when you plug your TV in, search for the channels, and it'll automatically upload everything you need. Other fun techie things. Honestly, look at DOIT's website, doit.tamu.edu or it.tamu.edu. talk to them. There's several devices that you can connect, and there's also some that won't work. I was a gamer when I was a community director, so I had an Xbox. It has wireless capability, but you need to connect it through. You have to connect it through a hard line. Basically, if you want a device to work, it has to be authenticated to someone. So if you cannot type in your NetID, the device will likely not work in the hall. So if you need, if you have an Xbox, PlayStation, PC, laptop, all those things, make sure you have your hard line. Housing portal. So if you go to oncampusaggies.tamu.edu, you will find way more information than you probably want to know. But on that website, you can look at your room assignment, try to request a room switch, cancel your housing, sign up for housing for next year, find employment for within residence life. Basically, you go on that website, you'll find almost everything you need at the top of the page, including your room condition report. So the condition of every item in your room is going to be listed on there as well. So log into that website. You'll find, if you have a question, need information, that'll be a great place to start.
And finally, one of the things that we want to talk about is the opportunity for you to be connected. Probably more so than anything else, one of the advantages of living on campus means that you're here with 12,000 other Aggies who have also made the decision to be on campus with you. And by virtue of that, you have access to these different organizations that happen not only through student activities, but also within the context of your residence hall or apartment community. The first of which is community council, and this is kind of like your hall government. So think people that are responsible for putting on programs specifically for your hall, things that you want to do, social programs, educational programs, resource programs, anything and everything that you feel like is relevant for your experience. If you want to be able to take part of that, that is something that you can do from the moment you get here. One of the great aspects about being a student on campus is that as a freshman, you can actually take on some of those leadership responsibilities from the very get-go on campus, whereas many of the other student organizations require you to go through an election process or be an upperclassman. So I would encourage you, if you've ever been involved in student council or other organizations in high school, look for those opportunities at the very beginning of the fall semester to get involved and give voice to what your community looks like over the course of the academic year. By virtue of those community councils being in each one of those halls, we also have some umbrella organizations that are department-wide for all of our students here on campus as well. The first of which is the Residential Housing Association, and they are the governing body for those community councils. Started in the early 1970s, this organization brings campus leaders from all of our halls together to talk about what's relevant for our residents on campus. They've proposed legislation, they've talked to different campus leaders, some of them have even gotten the chance to talk to the president and meet Reveille. So if that's something that you're looking forward to doing, this would be a great opportunity for you over the course of the fall semester. And that organization actually gives students the opportunity to learn as they're living on campus as well. We have different organizations throughout the course of the year that are also kind of involved with RHA, and specifically we get the chance to take students to what we call SWCUR, which is the Southwestern affiliate of college and university residence halls for other universities and colleges in our region. All of those students get to come together. There's obviously a lot of social time and programming and networking that happens, and you can take some of those great things that you learned from that conference and bring it back to campus, as well as exhibit some of the things that we are known for and our traditions here in Aggie Land as well. We also have the National Residence Hall Honorary. These are the top 1% of all of our on-campus leaders in our residence hall communities. They are nominated and inducted into an honor society that provides them with specialized training to be able to learn about what does leadership translate to into the real world. How can I use some of those skills to help me later in my career, whether that's applying for internships, looking at jobs, or just figuring out how to communicate with some of those campus leaders that are around here as well. An organization that's near and dear to my heart as the advisor is the Aggie EcoReps. We are a sustainability-minded peer-to-peer education group that talks specifically around the three pillars of sustainability: fiscal, financial, and social. So we want to make sure, and environmental, so that we are able to kind of really give you some of that information and education to learn about what does it mean to live a sustainable life as a college student. We do lots of service projects, we do lots of social programming as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, regardless of your major, definitely check us out over the course of the fall semester as well. And then finally, we have an organization called Erase, which specifically focuses on social justice and inclusion principles for our students that are living here on campus. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can not only be an advocate for those that are around you, but for those that you've never met before, some of the programs and services that are offered by this student organization will give you training and knowledge to be able to support all Aggies across campus throughout the course of the year. And in addition to the Residence Life specific organizations, there are over 1,000 other student organizations that we have for you to become involved with over the course of the time that you're here as a student at Texas A&M. I would encourage you, as you get here in the fall semester, take advantage of some of those opportunities to learn about these organizations and get involved. The more you're involved, the more successful you'll be, the more friendships you'll make, the better experience you'll have while you're here living on campus with us at Texas A&M. As always, if you have any questions about the information that we've presented today, please utilize the information that you see on the screen to reach out to us. These resources are available to you 24 hours a day. Our housing assignments staff are there to answer questions about what that looks like over the course of your preparation and getting here to the fall. So take advantage of those contact pieces that are on the screen in front of you right now. In addition, a lot of the information that we've talked about today can be found on our website, reslife.tamu.edu, and we really encourage you to follow us on our social media platforms. We have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook accounts that we would love to be able to connect with you on over the course of the summer in preparation for your arrival in the fall. But we really want to thank you today. I know I speak on behalf of Josh and myself. We're excited to welcome you here on campus in the fall term, and we're excited to see the connections that you'll be able to make, not only in your residence hall communities, but as a student here at Texas A&M University. We appreciate your attention today, and we thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve you when it comes to your on-campus housing in the fall semester. Stay safe and well.
Howdy, and welcome to the Aggie community. My name is Chad Preuss, and I would like to talk to you about the transportation services mobility options offered for travel on and off campus. There are many options for students, and I will cover some of them here. We know you're going to have questions after today, so we have developed a special web page specifically with you, the incoming student, in mind. So please jot down your questions as they arise and visit us at transport.tamu.edu/new for more information. Now, first up, I'd like to take a look at some of the easy to access and sustainable ways that can help you get where you need to go. First off, the VO Shared Bikes, or VO Ride. This program offers all the benefits of mobility and access without the hassle of ownership. Use the VO Shared micro-mobility options to avoid crowds on buses and bypass delays throughout the year. You can download the VO app and find an available bike near you. Scan to unlock it and enjoy your ride. Car Share. Now, this is the third-party car rental program, so if you need to get out and buy groceries or get out of town, sign up for the Car Share program and access the vehicles located around campus. Now, ZimRide or Share a Ride. Now, this is essentially a social networking site with Aggies who are seeking out other Aggies to sort of split the cost of commuting around campus. Now, if you choose to use this service, make sure you check out our safety tips online. And then finally, Borrow a Bike. Now, this is a free one-day rental if you just want to get around campus or around town, or your bike is temporarily out of service. Visit us at transport.tamu.edu/new, where you can find more information and get your questions answered by someone from our team. Now, as far as buses go, if you want to access information now about buses, including available routes, bus schedules, visit m.tamu.edu. Now, this is a wonderful tool to use for real-time and up-to-date information about bus routes. So you can see exactly where your bus is within the route and its current occupancy rate, so you'll know if it's full or not before it even gets to you. Now, if you're planning on parking on campus, you will need a permit. A parking permit can be requested at transport.tamu.edu/reg during the registration period from April 8th through July 8th. After registration closes, any available remaining parking permits can be purchased online beginning August the 1st. All you need to do is log in with your NetID and password. You could register for up to 6 different lots. Choose wisely by looking at the registration FAQs for the lots you are likely to get. If we are not able to award you any of your top choices, you will be placed on a waiting list for each lot you requested. Now, permits will be mailed out at the beginning of August. Now, virtual conferencing can be challenging. Please remember to visit the new student conference webpage we designed specifically for you at transport.edu, transport.tamu.edu/new. One last time, here are all the ways you can get in touch with us at Transportation Services, remembering that we are here to help you and make sure you know and understand your options. Thanks for your time and attention, and welcome to Texas A&M.